But I think it's because we did it right. I think it's because we did it with, there was the element of professionalism. From my background, there was the lived experience. There was the accountability, there was the safety, there was the compassion, there was the hope element to this, which I think was really important. Because, yes, unfortunately, we do lose people along the way, but there's a hell of a lot more get recovery and actually do well. There's things that we've had to do. So, we've had to be very clear that we're not a young person service. Okay. So there was a point where we were trying to do everything, right? And I think, as part of our honesty and transparency, we need to recognize that, like, we either do everything by half or we do what we do well, really well. And that meant saying no to things, which was really difficult. So being honest enough.
I've heard this before. Brilliant. Go on, carry on.
Being honest enough to say, do you know what? I could go into 15 schools. Like, it would be 15 hours out of my week. However, I could be here trying to strategize how we can actually meet the people that we need to meet, that we set up to meet, and do that better. That's really important. And also, we're not a crisis service, and this is really important. People will fall in and out of crisis, and I get that, and I understand that. And people tend to think when someone's in crisis, then they make the phone call and they'll send them down. We had to be really clear of where we sit. So we're a tier 2 service. We're not a tier 3. We might have nurses, but we're not a tier 3. Okay. And we're not a crisis service. And we'll advise you the same way as we would advise anybody else. So our referral pathway partners, we needed to be really clear. We're a recovery service. We're not a crisis service. We're not the crisis team of the Western Trust. So, you need to do your work there. If anybody in our community falls on the crisis, which they have done, then we support them. But we use the same pathways as anybody else would.
Yeah.
So it's about knowing who you are and knowing who you're not.
And
which
being
is really
good, and as you said, being good at what you do and sticking to that is really important. Yeah.